One, two, a one, two, three, four. Good morning, everybody. Richard Bird here on this morning, the episode of The Dash. I want to talk to you about what are you measuring. So Peter Drucker, famous ad guy back in the day, had a kind of wrote a quote in his book called "What Gets Measured Gets Managed." And I heard this all the time, and of course, in business I have KPI, key performance indicators, goals, milestones, all of those things. But it didn't really hit home until this last couple of weeks. I jumped on the bandwagon, if you will, and I bought an iWatch. And when I tell you the mind tricks and the mind games that I went through with whether I should purchase this was unbelievable. That's actually a whole other dash. I may have to come back and do a bonus on the mindset that I had to do in order to shift into, am I going to buy this watch that really its main job is to measure your health. And so I got thinking, I'm in the gym, trying to get my buff and everything. So I probably should get something that's going to help make me try stuff. So back to what what I noticed is that now watch tells me how many steps I take every day, whether I'm reading constantly, sends notification, breathe. I know whether I'm taking my breath. All of these different indicators that how I was starting to just kind of get pissed off myself. But it's really starting to measure what I do. I'm measuring my sleep patterns. I now know when I should go to bed. I know what times of night is my best times to sleep. And it's making me feel better. I'm getting up earlier. I'm doing more. I mean, in fact, right now we're taping this probably about 8:30 in the morning. I've already done 3 or 4 hours worth of stuff. Like I feel good. I mean, I look at my eyes, but I feel good. My body is responding. So what gets measured gets managed. The question is, what are you measuring? Well, first of all, I probably should go here. Are you even measuring in your business? Do you have key performance indicators that let you know what's important to you and what's important to the growth of and success of your business? Are you measuring in your campaign? Do you know what ads are performing properly? Are you measuring in your relationship? What are the key performance indicators that let you know that one, things are going great, but two, things are going wrong? I mean, measurements help you to figure out so much about what you're doing so that you can make the right plans for where you're going. I consider myself a super intellectual at times. That's not a humble brag. It's just, I like to think. I'm a thinker. I spend all day thinking. And because of that, what most people would consider to be a good thing is also a bad thing. Because I spend so much time here that I don't get things out on paper or in somewhere so that I can be held accountable. That's what measurements are about. So many of us in business and life, we spend so much time in our heads that we have not created systems in place that check us. What are you measuring? Are you measuring anything? If not today, the start of this year, today, the start of this week, the start of this decade, whatever you want to consider to be your starting point, I mean, in the next hour, you need to sit down and write out 4 or 5 things that you need to measure. Why is that? Why is measurement important? Well, again, I just talked about that. Measurements are important because it tells you what to do. What are you measuring is just as important. So I was telling a story My wife just spent the last week or so in an executive boot camp because CEOs and leaders think differently, and I wanted her to be involved in that. She's very involved in being able to run the company if anything happens to me or that stuff, and she's worked in our offices, she's run our offices, she's great with the books, all that kind of stuff. But I wanted to start to understand CEO level thinking, if you will. And one of the stories I told her is understanding your key performance indicators. What is it that is the win? How do I know that I've won? What is that key point there? And so the story I told her was this. If you come to me in my office and tell me we need to change the water jug because you want different water, I really don't care. You come in and say, oh, it tastes good, it tastes better, we're going to be better people, we're going to be healthy, la, 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 you need water. I don't care because my key performance indicators don't deal with whether or not you like the water. Now, if you come back and tell me that by drinking this water, we are either going to increase our productivity because we're hydrated, or we're going to cut costs because now this particular water source is less. Now you're in my lane because my key performance indicators as a CEO, I'm just talking as a CEO, is how do I move the bottom line? Of course, keeping my people, the people who work with me happy is a part of that, but moving the bottom line, that's how I'm measured as to whether or not I'm a good CEO. Did I move the bottom line? And usually moving the bottom line is involved with increasing revenue and decreasing expenses and then making your people happy. So, that story just gives you hopefully kind of a little bit of like, what are you measuring? Make sure what you're measuring is important to the growth of your company. I have a blog post, and we'll probably put them in the show notes. I have a blog post where I talk about this show, the 600-pound life or something. It was something like that. But in this show, it's usually about people who had lost a lot of weight and as a result had all of this skin left over. And most of the people who had lost a lot of weight were then very depressed. And let me tell you, it shook me up. It took me out for a while because I thought to myself, if I do all of this stuff and still at the end of the day, I'm unhappy on how I look, baby, go get me some Haagen-Dazs. Go get me some ice cream, some Oreo cookies, and some hot fudge because I'm not about to do all of this work and still be disappointed. And then I realized that I was measuring the wrong thing. I was measuring how good I look versus changing my measurement to how good did I feel. Will I be here for my kids in 20 years? Am I able to tie my shoe without help? See, I changed my measurements. I changed my key performance indicators, and it made me happier. It made me better, but it also made me want to continue. So what are you measuring? What are you measuring? And are you measuring? It is so important to your business, to your life, to your relationships, to your success, to your growth. Thank you very much. I hope you guys had a good time. All right. God bless. Start today. Start today. Start today. Peace.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Dig it.